Ed Rensi rose from a grill man at Columbus, Ohio's McDonald's in 1966 to president and CEO of McDonald's USA in only 18 years. He personally served the 50 billionth, not millionth, 50 billionth McDonald's hamburger, and his grandson, Josh Penning's Ohio State 2012, helped organize Brother Rensi's initiation of the Ohio State chapter in 2011. During his 13-year term as president, McDonald's experienced phenomenal growth. U.S. sales doubled to more than $16 billion. The number of U.S. restaurants grew from nearly 6,600 to more than 12,000, and the number of U.S. franchises grew from 1,600 to more than 4,500. Today, in the United States alone, 22 million customers are served each day at McDonald's. I was one yesterday. It was delicious. Under Rensi's leadership, McDonald's became the most recognized brand in the world, the next being Coca-Cola, the only soft drink supplier to McDonald's today. Ed grew up in eastern Ohio, surrounded by steel mills, coal mines, and persistent poverty. His father had just a third-grade education and pushed Ed hard to get into college and work toward landing a steady job, like being a school teacher. So Ed wouldn't end up like him and have to struggle day after day as a manual laborer with limited employment options. Ed listened to his dad and enrolled at Ohio State after school, but the demands of the work and family delayed his college experience. And in 1990, after returning to school in his 40s, Ed completed his degree at Ohio State. As I mentioned earlier, Brother Rensi became initiated into our fraternity just 2 years ago, following the footsteps of his grandson, who he's very proud of. And he's continued to give back to the Ohio State chapter, participating last year in the initiation and coming in and providing the charge for our newest undergraduate brothers at Ohio State. Beyond the McDonald's role for which he is so widely known, Rensi has built a second career as chairman and CEO of Team Rensi Motorsports, where he continues to apply his corporate and managerial motivational skills in the world of NASCAR racing. And in 2010, he opened the gourmet burger chain Tom and Eddie's. An avid cook, Rensi had a personal hand in developing all taste for the chain, which now has 5 locations in northern Illinois. I am going to go check this out in the very near future, Ed. Big burger fan. Renowned as a philanthropist, Rensi was honored by President Ronald Reagan with the President's Volunteer Award, recognizing his body of charitable work, including co-founding the world-famous Ronald McDonald House, which works to improve the health of children everywhere. His volunteer work for numerous educational charities was also recognized when he was chosen as the National Italian American Man of the Year by the National Italian American Foundation in 1997. Brothers, guests, and friends, please help me welcome Brother Ed Rensi to the stage.
Thank you. All right, sit down. Any of you that have your back to me, turn your chair around and pay attention. Do all of you have pens and pencils and paper? Anybody not? You don't have any? You have paper and pencil? Somebody get him a paper and pencil. Dude, when I talk, make notes. I'm giving you some advice, all of you. None of you are smart enough to remember everything you hear the rest of your life. And while you may hate taking notes in college, you will take notes the rest of your life. Or you could do it on an apple, something, right? Back in my day, we carved them in a tree. You guys do it on a thing. All right, I got a couple thoughts for you before I start ranting. So far, everybody's told me this has been a great conference. Anybody object to that idea? Okay, good. I was right in assuming that. Got another thought for you. I founded the Ronald McDonald House in 1974 in Philadelphia. It has a different mission than you all have, but it's the same thing. Local chapters supporting a great mission under the umbrella of an international organization that can provide the support, the wisdom, and the energy and the finances to make sure your local chapters are as good as they can possibly be. It is a testament to you and your international fraternity that you're here engaging in leadership training, because one of these days, You're going to be doing this for somebody else. And they will be earning money to help you with your Social Security check. Don't let them down. You're going to need them. Too close to home, isn't it? We are living in a very difficult world today. Couple thoughts. I want you to think a little bit about what the great challenges are in this world of ours and what you're going to do about it. Global economy. We've got a global economy whether we want it or not. If you go back 100 years ago, Japan was an isolated island with virtually no natural resources, no access to capital, no minerals, basic transportation by very slow boats. Today they're an economic powerhouse because they buy on the world stage. They can source money around the world. They can source minerals anywhere in the world. It's a global economy. I want to talk about China for just a minute because I just spent some time over there and I've made many trips to China. A word of advice, all of you better start taking courses in Mandarin. I used to tell my daughter, learn Spanish, because we had a huge Hispanic population in the United States and it was growing. Well, we're way past that. It's still a good language to learn, but trust me when I tell you, you better learn Mandarin because you're going to be dealing with that continent for a very long time to come. They got 1 billion people over there. They're very industrious. They got a 20,000-year culture. And their idea of a long-range plan is 100 years. In this country, we haven't passed a balanced budget in 3 years. We are paralyzed in this country because we don't have a common vision of our greatness. The Chinese do. At one time, they ruled the world culturally and economically, and they will again. And India is right behind them. India is right behind them. Give you an idea. I'm on the board of directors of Snap-on Tools. We went to China because we only sell tools in the country we make them in. So all the tools in the United States are made in the United States. All the tools we sell in Canada are made in Canada. All the tools we sell in China are made in China. A lot of reasons why, but just suffice it to say we do. We decided to build a plant in China. From the day we talked to the governor of the province we were in about building this plant till it was open and operating was 9 months. 9 months. You can't get a stinking dog license in Chicago in less than 9 months. And in fact, in Chicago, if you open up some kind of a pet care center, you need 3 licenses to give a dog a bath, cut its toenails, and sell a collar to the owner. You think about that. I opened up 4 restaurants in 18 months. I had to get a permit in one of the towns which will remain nameless. We had to comply with BOCA code on energy consumption. We did all the paperwork. It took us 12 weeks to get the plans approved. There was only one red line on the plan. And that was that city has their own computer formula for calculating energy consumption called the name of the town Energy Consumption Assessment, as opposed to BOCA Energy Consumption Assessment. We ran it back through. It cost another $1,200, took another 3 weeks, and guess what? The result was exactly the same because they just took the BOCA code and superimposed their name on it. We cannot compete in the global marketplace with that kind of stupidity. And you think it's bad at building restaurants? You think about the Chinese remodeling the Panama Canal. They are going to bring cargo ships through the Panama Canal to bring goods and services to the United States and haul stuff back to China. And we don't have one deep sea port that can handle those ships. The closest one is Savannah, Georgia. We just did a major environmental study of that harbor and dredged it 12 more feet. We got to go another 12 feet. You know what? They estimate it's going to take 9 years to complete the next environmental study. We cannot compete on a global marketplace if we have that kind of confusion in what we're doing and what's important. World poverty. There are too many people in this world that are starving to death, being brutalized because they can't get access to medicine, they can't get access to education. You know what the biggest single problem we've got right now in the Middle East is? Lack of education. At one time, Iraq had the highest education of any country in the Middle East. If you can't think, write, read, and conduct commerce, you can't get out of poverty. Take a look at some of the poverty in the cities in the United States today, and look at the school system. And you will find a very, very poor educational system and lack of access in those communities. But we always manage to pick out the one school in the community where 97% of the kids go on to college. But that doesn't solve a 600,000 student problem.